Eddie, the blind guy, was pressing his fingertips into my left breast as I steered him down aisle 4, canned soups and pastas. With one hand pushing the shopping cart in front of us, and my other arm extended away from my body so Eddie could grasp my upper arm, I was rendered temporarily defenseless. Each time I attempted to move my arm further away from my side, Eddie would push right back up against me, rhythmically pressing and kneading with his hand and fingers. I was confused. Was this involuntary, some function of his blindness? Maybe he's accustomed to reading Braille, I thought, and was perhaps searching for some deeper meaning in the ridges of my underwire bra. Or was this deliberate? It was hard to tell. Eddie may have been blind, but how blind was he really? He used a walking stick, but he wore glasses. Not dark glasses. Glasses. Whatever the reason for his wayward hands, something had to give. At 16, I'd landed my first job, courtesy girl at the local grocery store. Each week, I was tasked with guiding Eddie through the store, describing the contents of each shelf we passed, and selecting whatever items he wanted. Now, the role of courtesy girl, it was a coveted position in those days. The first step toward the holy grail position of checkout girl. And make no mistake, we were all girls, presumably because our beguiling ways and smaller hands were more suited to the gentility of fine grocery work. Now, there were rules, you see. This role was awarded only to those with the requisite geniality, and this was important: compliance. There were rules about proper footwear, hairstyle, acceptable lipstick shades, and demeanor, of course. I was advised that my encyclopedic knowledge, liquid smoke, you ask, aisle 6, condiments, top shelf, 3/4 of the way down on your left, all of this was to be dispensed courteously, naturally, always with a pageant smile, so as to reflect the wholesomeness of the brand. Eddie, on the other hand, wasn't bound by the same rules of engagement. Eddie was a man who liked to keep me on my toes. So, while I was bent over the meat cooler, looking for the 2-pound package of chicken thighs, Eddie was looking to cop a cheap feel off an obedient girl trying gamely to live up to her title. But because I couldn't be absolutely sure of his intentions, I never told my supervisor what was happening. I complied. I didn't want to complain and appear ungrateful for the opportunity to wipe chicken juice off the floor. Instead, I learned to diffuse and dissuade. I became very adept at diversionary tactics. "Why don't you wait here while I go get those little candies you like?" I'd say to Eddie, smiling. I used this same tactic again and again with men old enough to be my grandfather. If grocery store hurdles were an Olympic sport, I'd have been at the top of the podium. I played the game, and I played it well, because this courtesy girl had bigger ambitions: prestige, money, power, that holy grail position just 15 steps over there. Well, I finally found my own voice. I lobbied hard for that promotion, and I got away from the probing hands of Eddie. I still saw him occasionally, but it was from the protection of the checkout lane. I was a courtesy girl, accommodating and polite. It was the 80s, after all. Back when we still gave people the benefit of the doubt and we weren't so quick to take offense. But in reality, we were learning to tolerate all sorts of indignities, and as young girls, gritting our teeth and smiling all the while.